let's head over to Westeros, House of Dragon, episode 6, Smallfolk. IMDb summary is, with few options left, Rhaenyra embarks on a risky venture while Aemond takes steps to reshape the Green Council. Aemond.
Amen.
Oh my God. Yeah. Team Green. Team Green has definitely, oddly enough, seen better days. They have seen better days. They are immediately regretting their decision to put Aemond in charge.
Yeah, for sure.
like we've seen a lot of small council meetings at this point, especially this season. But man, everyone was just looking across at each other, and it's like, don't make eye contact with him. Don't make eye contact with him. Don't say anything. I found that to be very intriguing about how much of a difference that makes, because Aemon has attended small council meetings, but because now he's the regent, everyone and they put him there knowingly, put him there. And now they have to deal with that, where they are also quickly to realize how, he's a great fighter, military strategist, whatever, but the kid has no idea how to rule, clearly pays no attention to the small folk, and boots his own mom off of the council.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has an agenda. He is very confident in executing it, even if it may lead to a uprising within King's Landing. But at the same time, he suffers no fools as far as any. He quickly dispatches Kristen Cole off to the Riverlands to
meet up with the Lannisters.
Meet up with the Lannister so they could take on Harrenhal with Damon. And he also, when Larys was trying to weasel his way into becoming the Hand, he was like, no, I want Otto. And that was actually, to me, that was like one of the smart things that he did recognize, that he may be a good wartime leader, but he needed someone on that council who actually has some experience and who will give him good counsel, because I think he was just like, all these people around here are just sniveling idiots who that my brother put in place. I need to have someone that I can trust, and I can trust my grandfather.
Right. It was a surprising move. I wasn't expecting that. But I don't know why he dismissed Alicent. Within a short period of time, he brings back his grandfather, and then dismisses his mother.
Yeah,
it's because she could offer very similar counsel to him. But then again, I guess if we think back to, I think it was the first episode where there was that scene between Aemond and Sir Christian about Alicent's connection to Rhaenyra. Aemond's thinking enemy. Mom, I love you, but you're still tied to my enemy, so I can't trust anything you're going to advise me to do.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And and so to that extent, I would understand then. I still don't know exactly why he wants Otto.
Yeah, I think with Otto, I think he did see how well Otto served his father.
Right. And so did Aegon.
And Aegon, but Aegon was Aegon had some less. He took some good parts of Viserys's rule, for example, understanding that how to keep the small folk happy, because he did when Otto was challenging Aegon on that. Aegon said no, we need to keep the small folk happy.
Otto.
Yeah.
He was being naive about it.
Yeah.
I think though that with Aemond, it's interesting because I know we're talking Team Green, but Damon's whole storyline, not just in this episode, but this entire season, and there's a line in it where he's having a conversation and he brings up the fact that she never wanted it. They never wanted it. And Alice points out, like, you view the crown as a prize to be won. Aemond has been doing the exact same thing. This is me taking revenge, winning, claiming what my own family, like, cheered against me. Not viewing the crown as for what it is, which is actually a burden and a responsibility, and not something you just win. Like, because if you view it in that way, when you get it, you it's almost like, oh, I need a new game to play. Like, because what's more there to do? I've succeeded. Right. So it's like an unfulfilling prophecy almost.
Yeah. It's like, you just like the proverbial dog chasing the bone. Then what you get is like, they don't know what to do. So, one other thing too, I think, to your question about Alicent, why she is being knocked down each time by the council. I mean, I do think it is that the misogyny of the times too. I mean, we just in how they view women, how they treat women in Westeros. I think that's still that is also still a factor of it, and I think Aemond, excuse me, has just some general disdain for her. I mean, I think he, whenever he told her to go back to do your domestic things, I couldn't help but like think, but that he was aware of what was going on with her and Sir Kristen, and then also, at this point she's she's just his mother, and that's your role now. You're not Queen Dowager. You're Queen Dowager, but your role as far as having any say in the governance of King's Landing is no more. We think the crown thanks you for your service. I mean, I think he even said something to that effect. Yeah.
Right. He's like, I want this power all for myself. So family, please be excused.
Yeah.
Alicent this episode, and ever since she realized the error of her ways with Rhaenyra, you see this probably arguably the most highlighted in this episode with the doubt and the realization. Because, I mean, to your point about the misogyny on the council, I mean, Alicent, just like, of course, this is how they're going to treat you now. Look back at the night Viserys died. They immediately, all of the men in that room looked at each other and said, oh, yeah, there was no way we're going to let Rhaenyra, a woman, lead.
Exactly. And even like,
it was like read the room.
Read the room. And even last week, Larys again reinforced that whenever she was like, I should be the one. I've done it before. I can do it again. And they're like,
But they're also, I mean, now having watched this episode, that small council, there is no way they were not going to vote in Damon because they're all freaking afraid of him.
I mean, Kristen Cole was just like, you want me to go out to meet the Lannister? Okay, I'm on my way. And did you see anything? And like, did you see anything? No, boss. I didn't see a damn thing. Cole was like
that scene between Aemond and Aegon.
And
they're doing what they're doing with Aegon is so well done, because all I think is, can someone kill him? Because I don't want to see him dead, but put him out of his misery. Like, that's so painful. Which
it is.
Which actually is also countered. Like, you feel it more because in a scene that occurs on Team Black, when Sir Stefan goes to try to I don't know how you would say it, seize, like,
get bonded to Sea Smoke.
Get bonded to Sea Smoke. As soon as Sea Smoke burns him to pieces, one of the people slits his throat.
Yeah.
Like it is more painful to die in that manner than it would be like make it quick. And
Yeah.
so if you watch that scene and then just look at Aegon, who like charred body, broken limbs and all, you're just like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah. And Aemond, like, bringing the little marble, the king's marble, and like putting it on his chest and just driving it in. And,
I need sorry to cut you off, but I need
yeah.
a book reader to fill us in on, because I know we've seen the marble and I
Mhm.
know I might have seen it in Game of Thrones, but I'm not sure of the significance or if I'm forgetting even a scene between the two of them that would make that whole use of that prop that much more compelling. I mean, it's already a really good scene, but I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
didn't know if there's some additional context that would be helpful, but
Yeah.
continue.
No, that's a good point, because I remember, Viserys had it. It's always been at the table.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's definitely, so yeah, I'll definitely have to like make a note on to look in Westeroses or the wiki, and if, but yeah, book readers, let us know the significance, but I'll also look in the wiki to see if there's anything there, because I thought that was very interesting, that it was like a physical manifestation of Aemond, like, I've burned you. Now I'm gonna bring the symbol of the king here and just drive it into your chest to just make it even more painful in my getting back to you, for you, for all the bullying and all the things you've, like, how shittily you treated my brother all these years. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, I thought that was that scene, and also, like, wondering how. There are so many. There are several. There was a couple. One scene, I think Aemon was like wishing for his brother's demise. Again, just to like, just. I think he was talking to maybe the maester as far as his injuries or something like that, and so he's just like, but he's just counting the days. But we did get a Darren mentioned this week.
Yeah.
Speaking of the brothers, and Alicent, when she was talking to her brother about Darren, and speaking of Alicent, and the regret, and the feelings that she's been having this season, and that, I thought that was a very powerful scene between the two of them, and you know Darren basically being sounds like he's a great kid, turned out well adjusted and everything, versus his two brothers, who've been in the Red Keep, and how they've turned out. I thought it was that was another
Right.
painful thing for Alicent.
Yeah, he's kind.
Yeah.
I liked the line. Well, I agree. Like I like the whole scene, but I like the line where she's like, "I always wonder what would have happened if you had been sent with
Mm,
father and not me."
mm, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which is such and now knowing that that could have happened, it all your mind starts to work because you know how Otto and Viserys were. So
Hmm.
why, oddly enough, there could have been a timeline where this guy got together with Rhaenyra.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and you know what? The kingdom was at peace.
Yeah.
Like, for all we know, but I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it wouldn't have worked out. I mean, we're still talking about Westeros and Damon's still around,
Yeah.
but it's just it was such a good scene, and I also can appreciate that they just didn't bring on Alicent's like goofy, stupid brother. No, the guy clearly is observing
Hmm.
his sister's situation as much as he can and has now witnessed war as well as war with dragons. And
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm trying to say is I can't see him having that conversation with her um now, like in the first episode when we first meet him
Yeah.
versus now. Like he's been through some things. So
Yeah.
it's not just like he was telling her about her son, but he also at the end tried to assure her that it's not because you weren't there to raise him.
Yeah.
The kids you were around were corrupted by this city, not by
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I
But
think she needed to hear that, because she was definitely feeling had a lot of feelings there for sure.
Yeah, I would argue though that she was corrupted by the city, and that just like transferred to her children that she raised in King's Landing. But
Yeah.
and then you have the scene with Alicent and Helena and the people, the Smallfolk, getting mad because they are being left to fend for themselves, to dig up clams and fish for days, and they've had enough of it. And I think this is right after Rhaenyra sends the ships of food
Yep.
to the people, and they see them coming out of chapel, and whoo, whoo,
Oh boy. Yeah.
whoo.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if for folks who complain that this is a too talky of an episode, you got your action, and boy was there some action there. Yeah, Alicent gets hit in the face with a fish. Helena. Oh yeah, speaking of Helena, I mean there was her you know the one scene with her talking about there were three was it three birds and one's silent now. So I was wondering like what does she mean? You know, it was clearly, you know, she was having one of her visions. So I was just wondering what that vision was. Was it
Aegon is
related to?
actually silent right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was the brothers as well.
Well, the siblings.
Yeah, the siblings. Yeah.
I don't know. Because if you
yeah,
count Darren, then it would be three. Anyways,
yeah. Yeah, it just popped in my head whenever we were talking about the scene with Helena and Alicent. But yeah, I mean, it's just very interesting how the people, and I know whenever we move to Team Black and talk about Mysaria and, you know, helping to concoct this plan, how the people are taking it out on the Team Green versus Team Black, who's put the blockade in place. But again, it just reinforces Aemond's lack of vision, and as far as being a 360 ruler, as far as just making sure to keep the home folk happy, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be fighting two fronts of battle at home, but also of course the issues abroad as well, with Team Black. So so it's very smart. I loved how they again just really showed how the as Mysaria said, there's more than one way to fight a war. So
right.
yeah.
And I mean, really, I don't know anymore because I forgot what I was going to say, but like they were able to shift the winds so quickly is because Otto's not there to spin the news. Like there's no propaganda. We saw that very early on this season. About how Otto was able to spin things. Like think about Jacerys's death and full blame on Rhaenyra. So the people, not only are they starting to listen to others because Viserys has her spy in there who's saying things, but also they're feeling it. Like they're really not. Like things are not getting better. And then previous episode, you have like close the gates, can't go in, can't leave. It's like, well, what do you expect to happen? Like,
Hugh's daughter's like sick, and because we saw Hugh. I mean, he was the one that started the whole thing. Was like he was like sucker punched the guy for lettuce. I mean, so
yeah. And so this whole white worm, like. At what point were you watching that scene between Rhaenyra and Mysaria and like, okay, they're gonna kiss?
The stage was set when she, at least with this, I mean, they've had chemistry all throughout, as they've gone closer, but I think whenever Rhaenyra was practicing with the sword, and she was like, "That sword looks good on you," and I was like, "Huh." So when they kissed, I was like, okay, I know it's a very tragic story, but at the same time, I was like, it didn't come out of left field for me. And I understand that Emma Darcy was actually, they were the ones who suggested that scene happen. But it didn't come out of left field for me because they clearly have that obvious chemistry. And I mean, and for Rhaenyra, the character, she's been so alone, and she's lost Rhaenys as far as a confidant. Damon's off doing his thing. I mean, she's very alone there, and so we've talked about this before, where Mysaria was become a sort of like the unofficial hand to the queen, and confidant, and so it happened.
Yeah, no, I agree. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the most romantic thing after Miss Harris talked about what happened between her and her dad. But yeah, they found some sort of weird romance in that also. So good for them.
Good for them. It wasn't incest. It wasn't like it wasn't
incest, which means it's not going to last.
Exactly.
It's not going to last because
it wasn't so. Yeah.
And we're not really starting to see, and I guess I wasn't expecting this, to see how much it's not just Rhaenyra struggling with how she is supposed to fight this battle without being able to actually fight it herself, but also fight it with/without Damon.
Yeah.
Like it's this whole and it's been kind of subtle of how they've done this, about this, not only in terms of their relationship, but also in terms of that power of king and queen, which now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, Matt Smith, of course, why wouldn't you? He played in The Crown, Prince Philip.
Yep.
And you see that played out in the early seasons of The Crown, arguably throughout the whole series, about when you have a queen, what that does to their husband, who is not necessarily king.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's king consort. Yeah. Yep, king consort. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm starting to get more appreciation of that as they've added in that extra layer there. Or not maybe added, but just have made sure it's very clear of the different layers of complexity that's going on between their marital disputes, as well as this whole political family war that's occurring.
Yeah. And it's very, and also just, and I think even double, for me, it was just like, given the fact that Damon and Mysaria, the White Worm, had their own relationship too, right. Just adds to, so they it's like they both have experience with Damon, and so they, I think so. There's also that common bond too, that they have dealt with this crazy dude who has his own sights on power and other things, and just when things get tough, he flies off, so
it's the second son syndrome.
Yeah.
You're not the first son, so if there is power to be had, it doesn't go to you, it goes to the first son. So it's and that's why we're seeing it not only play out with Damon, but also with Aemond. Like we're seeing the history repeat itself to an extent.
Totally.
And they've done that really well in this second season, and this episode we finally get something that I've been complaining about, is we get Viserys.
Yep.
He's not as strong as I remember, but we do see good old Patty, and he have some scenes where, starting off with the vision of the hair for the day, and basically an argument that was had, and Damon's just like, why are we still arguing about this? And he refuses Damon as his heir. We also see Viserys mourning the loss of his wife, and Damon there to comfort, even though he wasn't there during that time. And so we get like a regret scene. And and then there's I think it's the final one where Viserys is on the throne and Damon comes in and ends up somewhat being locked in there and is just wanting to leave. So
yeah, all the scenes with Patty and as Viserys being back, I mean, they were so powerful, and the one that really stood out to me, of course, was when Damon was comforting Viserys when he lost his wife, and their, I guess that was that Jacaerys, the son, after the C-section.
Oh, I don't know what that kid was named.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. But yeah, just the guilt that he had, like you said, and just the fact that, I guess in his own mind, this is his way of just like trying to make some peace with the fact that he wasn't there for his brother. Because I mean, there's just so many things swirling around. I know some people on social media and stuff have been like, there's some sentiment out there that folks are tired of the stuff going on in Harrenhal, but each week it just seems to me it just gets more and more fascinating as the deeper he goes into that madness, and then of course his relationship with Alice, and to the point where Damon Targaryen actually like reaches out to someone to ask for counsel. I mean, which I thought was
I would agree with people more who were on the side that, okay, we get it, he's going crazy, enough is enough. But they've added more scenes following up between him and Alice, which I seem to like those scenes more than I think the visions by now, and I love Viserys, but are just running a bit long. And also we're just like, okay, get to the point with this. Like, you are fleshing out the character and the depths of the emotions and all of that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, can we get some, I don't know, like some more complexity here, or a different dynamic? I don't know. It's just I can see that side to an extent as well. So
but I think with Alice going off, I just love that scene too. She's like, "Don't worry, in 3 days' time, everything will be the winds will shift."
which it is. It is shifting. She seems to have an knack for predicting the future. I just need her and Helena to like meet up randomly in some brothel one day and share some predictions and some stories.
Totally.
I need that scene. The last point on Team Black is we're gonna talk about Corlys, who was not the most faithful guy we thought he to be. I at least didn't realize that the kid had some bastards.
Oh, you didn't? Really?
No. At what point? No, Will. No, you never told me that.
Oh, I mean, I thought it was pretty clear that like Adam and Alan were like his bastards. I mean, that's why the whole thing with Rhaenys last week was so like, she absolved him of it before her demise.
Yeah, I thought about that scene. No, it was not clear to me at all. Because I thought everyone was saying, oh, that was a really strange scene between Rhaenys and Alan, and I was like, yeah, it was like some weird kind of chemistry stuff happening there. Very strange. But no,
my apologies for not making it clearer to you that she was like, when she saw him, she realized that was his bastard son.
Yeah. But it isn't Alan who gets the dragon. It is Adam Hull who gets the dragon. Sea Smoke. And
No, go ahead.
No, that was about it.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I mean, speaking of Alan, I mean, a couple things, he was, because he is Corlys's bastard. I mean, they did a nice little point there, like showing him shaving his head so the white Valyrian hair would not be coming out. And also just with the whole pairing, I know we touched on it some with Sir Stefan, earlier in our discussion. But of course, Alan, given that he is, given that he has Valerian blood in there, and running through his vein, which he is Valeria. I know all these. I mean, anyway. That it was going back to something we discussed last week about non-Targaryens flying, being able to get bonded to dragons. So a couple of things. One, Sea Smoke was bonded to Leonor, Leon or Valerian, Rhaenyra's first husband. Remember, he was the closeted gay guy.
I know.
Yeah. I had forgotten about that aspect. One, so I forgot Sea Smoke was his dragon. So I put the connections together this week, and then, but also, to that point, of course, he faked his death. In the books, he actually was killed, but in the show, they faked his death and he went away. But given that Sea Smoke, I thought about a scene earlier in the season where they were talking about Sea Smoke, feeling lonely and lost. Was maybe it was a sign that he was killed. Rhaenyra was killed because you can't, a dragon can't be bonded to two people. So I wonder, I wonder if he was killed off screen and he just didn't know it, because that's why now he could, now Sea Smoke could take another person. And then also the fact that Alan does have Corlys's blood running through him. Corlys is Valerian, so they can, the freehold can be bonded to dragons. So that's why Sea Smokes did smell that and gave him a chance to prove himself, and clearly he did, because we get the end scene there where they spot Sea Smoke with the new rider. So
yeah. They certainly do. So I may not have picked up on Corlys cheating, but I did pick up on that Sea Smoke was Lenora's dragon. So
okay.
we're even. We're even.
We're even. Yeah. Sorry I didn't remind you about that.
Yeah, sorry I didn't make it clear back in the episode where she points out Sea Smoke is my late husband's dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman has had husbands and then an affair with her uncle. I get it.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's very complicated.
Yeah, I joked before, I need to have a chart each time we talk about this show, just to make sure I have all the various characters and who was married to who and all that kind of stuff, because
you would not have survived Game of Thrones, because we're talking multiple families where you're just okay, who is what? and granted, in this show, I feel it even more now that everyone's Damon people pretty much the same name, just one syllable difference. That's not hard at all to keep track of.
Yeah.
Oh man, but
and we did get. Yeah, and then one other thing, a Team Black, I was just going to mention. I guess there is I guess another dragon that's out there that's not claimed, because we did see Rhaena when she was up in the Vale with all the dead sheep and the dead animals, and of course the burn marks on the ground. So there is another dragon that's out there too. That's and Olaf is still, of course, speaking of the Smallfolk, we did see him briefly in this episode too, before the big thing. So
the Black team is rising. They may have not had the strongest season, but they've been plotting some stuff, and we're getting to kind of an even playing field, especially with Vhagar and Aemond. But next week's the penultimate.
Yep.
The series is known to have great penultimate episodes, so looking forward to that, and then we'll be at the season finale. I mean, off the races.
Yeah, and then it'll be, I guess, 2026 before we get to the next season. So
you just keep bringing that up. Just keep it in the salt in the wound. Wound.
I know. This is just painful. It's just painful to think about.
I if I got through the hiatus between in 1 and 2, you'll get through the hiatus between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
On that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Will and Polk, WILLMPOLK.
You can find me there too at SJ Belmont, SJBELMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at Scene and Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Threads at scene_n_nerd. And visit our website, www.sceneandnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.